Our next game, released the same day as Karateka, is Lunar Ball, or Lunar Pool as it's known in the US. And Lunar Ball is a pool simulation game, but it's one with a difference. As you can see here, you can control which round you start at, but also you can control the friction. That is the friction of the table, which will make a pretty substantial difference in gameplay. Now, this game was released by Pony Canyon, the same folks who released the awful on Yanko Town. However, rather than using the same horrible developer who did that game, they actually used a very highly respected developer known as Compile. Folks who are fans of shoot-'em-up games will probably be familiar with the name Compile. They developed some of the most well-beloved shoot-'em-up titles for home consoles, especially for the MSX computers and for the TurboGrafx 16. They could do quality work, and it really shows in a game like this. You use your D-pad to move that little cursor around, and that'll sort of show you which direction you'll be hitting the cue ball. Just like in Nintendo's Golf, there's sort of a power meter that moves up and down. How much force you hit the cue ball with depends on how fully charged the power meter is. Now, this game starts off simple enough, but once you get into the higher levels, the pool table will start getting crazier and crazier. That and the fact that you can control the friction of the pool table really makes this a very unrealistic pool game, but it's a lot more fun because of that. The name Lunar Pool, I guess, is supposed to imply that this is how they play pool on the moon. Here's one of the later pool tables. Part of the challenge of the game is trying to figure out how to get the balls into the hole with these crazy shaped tables. In Japan, this game was released by Pony Canyon, but was also released in the US as well. Pony Canyon doesn't have any sort of US presence, so it was released by a company called FCI. This was one of the first FCI games, I believe. FCI is part of Fuji Sankai Communications Group. That's the same company that owns Pony Canyon. FCI was a company set up in 1986 to distribute Pony Canyon games in the US. They're actually still around, but they're no longer involved with video games. This is what the game looks like with the friction turned all the way down. You're playing on a super smooth surface, so your ball will go around the table forever virtually. This makes the game a lot different, needless to say. Even if you normally find pool games pretty boring, like I do, this game is actually a lot of fun and you really ought to give it a try. It's definitely not your typical pool game.